Paula, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
I don't think he can hear you. I have to back that.
He can hear me.
Oh, he can?
Yeah. Oh, it's because the microphone's on.
Hi, Paula.
Good morning, Mayor. How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Doing good, thank you, sir.
Good.
Hi, Mayor.
Hi, Tim.
Hey, I'm just not sure as I texted you, he said he'd be here, but as far as he may be popping out, so I'm not sure exactly when he's going to be here. Greg, that's Greg.
Okay.
But when he's there, we just probably only have a few minutes, is what he said, because he's working some things right now. So
So if he pops on late, maybe we'll just stop what we're doing and go to him, and then
yeah.
really good.
So
We,
hi, Ellen. You're you're on mute.
Yeah.
Hear you now.
Good. How's your morning started?
Good so far for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we have a house full of things going on. Well, we're waiting for everybody to come online. We just invested in some new windows for our house. So we have workmen finishing grout and I have my sister listening to anyways, it's an interesting morning. So I think we're just doing 30 minutes. Is that right? This morning? Yeah. Great.
Yeah, that's what we've done typically. Mayor, does that sound all right?
Yes, yeah, that's what I was planning on the most, Jim. New windows, Ellen, that's a big deal. You know,
Well,
that'll help you be more efficient, right?
right. And yeah, we almost, this is a 1972-year-old house, and we thought about new windows 22 years ago, and we balked at the price. They said it would be $20,000 to do all the windows in the house. So now spent close to that to do 4 windows in
Oh gosh.
crazy. Yeah.
I've got Greg texting me, so we've got to get him on here, so just give me a second.
Okay.
Oh, well, Mayor, since we have just a moment waiting, I appreciate that you thought it sounded like a good idea if we could get Representative Curtis's attention for a short meeting. And I wasn't ever really clear what happened to I thought that was really neat that ULCT put together a meeting with the Utah delegation and the federal delegate, the federal representatives. But I guess it didn't work out this time, or did you ever
Yeah, I
get it?
don't know. I haven't talked with the league staff, but I think it's worth investigating on our own if we can do something. And I think I have a channel where we can maybe try to get that to happen. So
Oh, all right. So if you're working it from your end, I'll step back.
okay, yeah, I
does that-
am. Hey, real quick, do we have a quorum?
Okay, yes, I think we do because
Now, yeah, I'm here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Sean's there, so I think
Oh,
we do. We can
perfect.
start.
Yeah, so let's get started. I know everybody's on tight schedules and things going on. So today's Thursday, February 20th. No, I'm sorry, 29th, the day that we should get off because it's an extra day in our life. Anyway, this is the legislative update for the Cottonwood Heights City Council. We're grateful to have our lobbyists with us and staff and council. What we're going to do to start this morning, Greg Curtis has some meetings, or some, I don't know if we call them meetings or not. Maybe we just call them stress, Greg. But I know you've got to get going, so we'll turn some time over to you real quick for an update.
Well, if you're familiar, House Bill 488, which is in the Senate, is a transportation funding modifications bill, and that is the bill that has all of our funding in there. It has a lot in there, but it has 1.5 million for the Fort Union 2300 East area. It has that's 1.5 there. It has the language allowing UDOT to use 2% of the Cottonwood Canyons Fund for public safety in the canyons language in there. And it also creates a infrastructure loan fund in counties of the first class. And then upon repayment of those funds, 20% of those funds will go for a transit mobility hub on ground north of Big Cottonwood Canyon. And so those are the 3 things in there that Cottonwood Heights should like. Okay.
Are we? So where are we? Has the bills passed anywhere?
Yeah, it's passed. Well, it passed the House in a completely different form. It went to Senate committee earlier this week and was subbed. There will be a second sub this morning that has just technical changes to it, tax commission and some other technical changes. And then it's sitting in the Senate, has to pass the Senate, and then go back to the House for concurrence.
Okay.
We have the votes in the Senate. The House is a little dicier because some of their leadership that are not in Salt Lake County are really upset about how we spend this money in the county of the first class fund, and just trying to educate them and say, guys, it's not your money. Okay. It's local tax dollars collected in Salt Lake County in a restricted fund at the legislature. So go around and ask all of your Salt Lake County reps how they feel about it. And if they like the bill, then what's your hang up, you know?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's kind of our message. And saying, you know, if you feel like you need to come up here and determine, no, this city doesn't have enough, or that city has too much, or we don't like this. They could complain, obviously, about the 0.2 coming from the Cottonwood Canyons Fund, because that is state money. But other than that, you know, so it's
Okay.
in a good spot. It will get back over to the House, and then we'll see if they will concur, or if there will be some you know, horse trading, etc. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
UDOT is very supportive of our 0.2 for the public safety, and so that's helpful.
Great.
Very helpful that way.
Awesome.
Is
Well, that's
it
actually really, really good. Will you keep us really up to date?
Yes, it should get lifted from rules in the Senate and put on the board and be heard in the Senate sometime, either late morning or early afternoon, is what I'm
Awesome.
being told. Okay, and so and I really don't anticipate any problems in the Senate, and then we'll have to continue our work in the House. But yes.
Awesome. Thank you, Greg. Go ahead, Ellen.
Is there anyone in Salt Lake County Council who wouldn't be supportive of the money for that transitional building up at the mouth of Big Cottonwood Canyon? I mean, if any state legislator asked a Salt Lake County council person, is there anybody we need to contact to do any additional persuasion with people?
I have sat down with Mayor Wilson and gone through the bill. There's one part of the bill where she had some concern, but I think when I explained it to her, so there's one part of the bill, and I talked with the lobbyist that represents the canyons, that takes the cap off of the Cottonwood Canyons Fund. And so it's $20 million a year for the Cottonwood Canyons Fund. And it takes that cap off. And so it's revenue neutral, but it takes the cap off. So it has sales tax growth. So next year, instead of 20 million, it will be 20,500,000. And they said, well, this is just a way to fund the gondola. And I told them, I said, no, this is a way to fund phase one. And I said, if we just keep killing all funding for this, and I told them, I said, I do not represent anybody. I used to represent Snowbird. I do not represent them anymore. I said, I do not represent anybody that wants that gondola. But if you just keep killing phase one funding for the mobility center, then when the litigation is done, if UDOT wins, they will just build the gondola. Okay. And it will be off to the races. I said, if you can demonstrate that phase one works, then you have a chance of them saying, why do we need to fund a $1 billion gondola if phase one is working? Okay.
Exactly.
And I said,
couldn't agree with you more.
If you stick your head in the sand and just act like it's all going to go away, then I think in the long run you will lose. And Mayor Wilson, she said, I'm going to work with the community, the community. I don't want to say those who are opposed to the gondola. I'm going to work with them and try and explain that. And I said, all right. I said, because we can pull that out of there. I said, but I can just tell you, I had this conversation years ago with someone that was litigating with UDOT. And I said, please, you've been litigating. It's gone on for 6 or 7 years. I said, tell me one project that you're familiar with where UDOT has been sued and it ultimately has not been built in one form or another. And they said, well, I don't know any. And I said, all right. So you might delay this for 10 or 15 years, but ultimately it gets built. I said, we have to demonstrate there's another solution. And I said, and that's what this is attempting to do.
Well,
Yeah.
thank you
So,
for being so well spoken on that. That's so reassuring. Thank you.
yeah, I spoke with their lobbyists this morning and I said, look, if there's strong pushback on it, I don't want people working against the bill because they're worried about, an extra $500,000 a year flowing towards the gondola. It's going to be okay. Over 10 years, it might be $10 million. And I'm like, guys, that is not going to be the linchpin on this thing. Okay. But showing them that phase one works could. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Thank
Agreed.
we'll see.
Agreed. Awesome.
So that's been my world for the past couple weeks, and
Okay.
and it will be my world for the next 48 hours. So
Yeah.
I mean,
Let's
answering-
narrow it down. It's probably 40 hours, right, Greg?
yeah. So
Midnight
Yeah.
tomorrow. Yeah. Anyway. Well, hey,
Yeah.
we appreciate you. Thank you for those updates. We really, really appreciate them. Go do your thing, and we appreciate you coming on.
Oh.
So
Oh yeah, and Brian will probably cover this. I just wanted to say, gravel pits. I think gravel pits and all their machinations are dead, and at some point, if you don't like the gravel pit in the Canyon and the one out at Draper, you should probably take Senator Colmore to lunch and kiss him on the cheek and give him a big hug, because without it should be digging gravel by July. So
Wow.
anyway,
okay.
he may not want that recognition, but that's the reality. So, okay.
Thanks, Greg. That's good to know.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks.
Sorry for
Thank you.
jumping on and running.
Go do your
Thanks,
thing.
Greg. Let us know how we can help you.
Thanks. I will do
So-
that. All right. Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Yep. So let's turn some time over to Brian. So I think what I got from that was that Senator Colmore helped kill those bills, right? And we probably owe him
Yes.
a vote.
Yes,
So-
he's been super helpful. We were putting a lot of pressure on different people, and I think finally Colmore kind of put everything to bed for us. The only bill that survived was the study bill, which is innocuous. I mean, it's
Yeah.
probably good to have some conversations, and I think that's the one bill that will pass. I think everything else has been shelved, so we're good for this
Okay.
year on the gravel pit stuff. So that's
Great.
that's good news. I mean, there's a lot there's a lot going on. We had the one bill that's still kind of out there that's problematic that we're hopeful for a fix on is the building inspection bill. I think Senate Bill 185. We've been working with the league. I've been talking to House members. I haven't found a single House member who likes the bill in its current form. And I've talked to most all. I think I probably talked to 70 of the 75. The only challenge is that it's Senator Vickers' bill and he's in leadership, and it's always tough to oppose a leadership bill, but it's been done and it can be done. It sounds like this House sponsor on the bill is he's not all that comfortable with the bill himself. He wants to negotiate to a position where the cities are okay with it. So what we're hoping to get is after 3 days that the contractors would have to go to a randomized list of building inspectors that were paid for by the cities. And so there's no conflict of interest. And that sounds probable at this point, but there's still a lot of time. There's still a lot of negotiating going on. And again, it is Senator Vickers. He's a pretty formidable guy. So super nice guy.
Wasn't one of the things they're negotiating 3 days to 5 days, or is that not?
Well, right now, the latest I heard was it's still kind of around 3 days. But it could change. I mean, like I said, there's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes still on that. So we're talking to the league about every hour about, what we're finding out on the House floor versus what they're hearing in negotiations. So it's promising. So that's moving along.
If I may just add, as you all know, there was a full court press from the league to all the members opposing that a couple of days ago, and Brian's been working on that for us, so.
So that's the one bill that's left that's kind of problematic. I mean, all the other bills that we've had concerns about that have died, which is good. The one, or they've been fixed. The ones that we've had some, real support for have some of the homeless stuff, some of the affordable housing things that were really favorable to cities and not been going through the process fairly to all of those to pass. So, but the last 2 days of the session, lots of crazy things happen. We watch everything carefully, make sure things don't get substituted into bills that shouldn't be. We saw that once already this session where a fairly innocuous bill that nobody cared about was, somebody's made a substitute motion or created a substitute bill that's completely different and highly controversial. So we actually killed that. But the reality of it is that those kinds of things happen. So we have to really be diligent these last couple of days. But we haven't heard of any thing underfoot. So we think feel pretty confident about where things are at.
Okay. Great. Council, any questions on anything that you're concerned about?
I was curious if, since we have a minute or two, on going back to the subject of transportation, there were 3 transportation bills that came out of the House Bill 449, 345, and 201. Just wondered if those were still alive or if they formally passed.
We're going to look them up. We track 200 bills, so it's kind of hard to remember all the numbers exactly where they're at.
So
While you're doing that, go ahead.
I was only going to say House Bill 449 was the bicycle safety considered in street design, support PNC fund.
So that bill, it passed out of the Senate committee and it's in rules right now. So the reason it's in Senate rules is because they're doing the prioritization list. And so if it pops on the board, we can let you know.
Yeah, so that one will have to get prioritized by the House, which it should. I mean, I don't think it's had any opposition anywhere, so it should get prioritized. But they haven't, there's no.
Still have to go to
Sorry?
the Senate. If it gets
Well,
prioritized.
It's in the Senate.
It's in the Senate now. It just has to be prioritized by House leadership to get on a list to get voted on.
It
Okay.
already made it out of the Senate committee.
It's out of the House, it's through the Senate committee, and it's sitting in Senate rules to get put up on the board for a final vote. So
Okay.
I don't anticipate that not getting through, but I mean, it's weirder things happen during the legislative session. So, I mean, it's hard to know for sure. But that one doesn't seem to have any controversy that we're aware of.
Great.
And what was the next bill?
And what was the
then-
next bill?
345 was increasing the fine for speeding in school and construction zones.
That one has passed.
That one's passed.
That one passed, great. And then the other one was 201, House Bill 201, and it was related to speed cameras being able to be used in intersections.
Yeah, that one has had some controversy.
So
I'm not sure where that.
Somebody tell me that
landed.
one's not going anywhere.
Yeah,
it's
not.
It hasn't even had a House committee hearing.
It didn't get out.
It's in rules.
Okay.
What
Thank
about the annexation bill passed, right?
It was, there was a substitute, but I think it's okay. I mean, I think where it ended up is it gave Granite, the Granite community and White City communities were really up in arms about the way it was written initially, because they would have to be annexed into. There was some effort to substitute. I'm not sure where that's at or if it's passed all the way yet or not. There's some effort to create a substitute bill to kind of give them an opportunity to try to self-determine. I don't know how they would.
Was it 330?
What was that number again? The House. I talked with Kara Trevino at the county about this just last night. Can't remember where it was ending up, but it was still in flux, I think. Where's that one at?
Didn't it end? I thought it ended where they would give these islands 3 years to do their own thing before they were
Yeah, I think
annexed
that's,
to the larger
I think
city.
that's, I think they have until 2027 to figure out if there's a feasible way to self-determine.
So
Yeah.
it's made it through a Senate committee and it's in rules waiting.
So,
to be
so
put
it's
on
in
the-
Senate rules, and I think there's still some negotiating going on with that one. So I don't think it's set in stone quite yet, but
Okay.
I'll find out about that one today.
Okay, great. Well, I
But,
know
you know,
Greg,
all in-
go ahead.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
I was gonna say, all in all, we had, with working with the league and doing the stuff we've been doing, I think we've had a pretty good year. It's been, we've been able to the one bill that I know Tim this one grates on Tim about having a separate meeting for officer compensation. So we got that bill to a tolerable place. I wouldn't say even acceptable, but it's circled on the House calendar, and there's been no attempt to move it, so it may not make it. I don't know what's happening with that bill. I asked the league, and they're like, we don't know why it hasn't been voted on. So there's something going on internally. I'm going to try to find out today. So that one's still sitting on the calendar untouched.
It's
So,
been circled since February 21st.
yeah, so it's been on there
What
for
does
like
it
a
do,
week.
by the way?
So it would require you to have a separate hearing for officer compensation amendment increases outside of this. So you'd have basically you'd have to have a meeting to talk about officer compensation, and then go into your budget meeting and then adopt those as part of the formal budget. It's a dumb bill. I mean, I actually told the sponsor this is really a dumb bill. He was not. I think he's still mad at me, but that's okay. He'll get over it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not a great bill. But we got it to the best place we could, with the league's help, and then he's really mad at the league too. So. Yeah, it's not just me. He's mad. He's mad at anybody who opposed the bill, which is like, it's such a dumb bill. Why would you fall on your sword over that? But anyway, it is what it is. So it's still circled. I don't know if it's going to go anywhere. The beekeeping bill that we were able to negotiate into a fairly good place is over in Senate rules, hasn't been put on the board yet. Don't know if that one's going to get prioritized, but that one was fixed. So it's been I think generally a pretty good year for the cities. The league has worked. I mean, Cameron has been tireless on the housing stuff. I mean, he has just been, and he has lines in the sand that he will not let them cross, and he's been so good about holding those lines. So he really deserves a lot of praise, and his staff for all the work they've done. They've done phenomenal. It's been great to work with them. It really, it's just super good to have, an army of people, to work on these issues and to help make sure that things stay where they need to stay. So it's been a good year.
Yeah.
We'll see how the next 2 days go, but right now things look pretty good.
Okay. Well, good. I know Greg is on a cruise on Saturday. How about you, Brian?
Oh no, I've got work. I've got a rulemaking in California I've got to get engaged on, and I got a bunch of stuff going on. So there's no slacking for me. I might take a vacation in August. So.
Mayor, I've talked to Ryan and Chantel and Greg about having them do a end of session report on the 19th of March, and they are planning on doing that. So just FYI.
Perfect. Well, my least favorite time of the year is almost over. So anyway, I know that's how it keeps you employed, Brian, but anyway, so one thing that I would, well, maybe we end on it, but Ray Ward and Bountiful, the guy seemed to be fairly antagonistic towards cities. Any sense that do you know him at all?
I know Ray really well because I do healthcare issues as well, and he's a doctor, so I work with him a lot. I don't know if he's antagonistic about cities or if he's antagonistic about a particular city. I can certainly find out. I know Ray well enough that I can ask him directly.
There was a KSL article that came out where he every one of his quotes was, "Look, it's time to just take this." He was talking about local zoning. And he says, he goes, "Look, we've passed bills. It's time to move this to the state." And so, I mean, his quotes were not.
Wow.
So it made me want to he has a Republican challenger that I'd love to get behind. And anyway, I don't want to say that. I just say that article was really, really bothersome to me. If you've got some type of update about that,
That
Brian,
would
I'd
be
really
that would be
appreciate it.
bothersome to his constituents. So I'm shocked that he would even say that publicly. I'll find out. I mean, I can ask him directly, so I don't have any problem doing that.
Okay,
So I will
Okay.
find out and let you know.
appreciate that.
Do you have access to that article still? Could you send it to me? 'Cause I never did see that. So
Yes, I'll find it and send it to you. Yep.
that'd be great, because then I can get the exact quotes and then just say, hey, what's this all about?
Yeah.
Because that's nutty.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can
Yeah.
do that.
Okay.
All right, sounds good.
Okay. Thank you guys. Thanks.
All right, let us.
council. Hey,
We'll
so
let you know if anything crazy happens.
I think I need a motion to adjourn because so I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I motion that we adjourn.
I'll second.
All right. All in favor, say aye.
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 Okay. Thank you. We're adjourned. Have a great Thursday.
Thanks.
you.
You too. Happy
Yeah.
Leap Day.
Thank you. Bye.